Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Rebecca,
Glenny, good to see you.
and we are here for our French cuisine cook the book. We were supposed to be here last week, but we had some technical difficulties, so we had to push it off a week. So we decided for the July cook the book to celebrate Bastille Day, which would have been last week, and we chose French cuisine on there, and that was really the only reason that we chose French cuisine for this month's cook the book. So, Glenny, why don't you tell us a little bit about the book that you chose and what you liked about it and what dish you made?
Sure. So I picked a book called Plat du Jour, French Dinners Made Easy by Susan Herrmann Loomis. And this was a fun book in that it reminded me about things about French cooking. For instance, they're all about simple ingredients, beautifully prepared, and ingredients are like really important. You don't just have a menu wouldn't have like 42 different things necessarily. It would have perhaps like this. You'd go to a bistro, a French restaurant, and you'd have a chalkboard outside, and there'd be the plate of the day, plat du jour. So there'd be the food of the day. So it's not necessarily quantity and choices as much as the best ingredients of that area in that moment, created magnificently by the chef that day. And so they really do pride themselves, the French, on spectacular ingredients, the terroir, the way the food is prepared, very traditional, very special. This book does not have a whole lot of pictures, but here's a very simple picture of a snack, like a little bread, little cheese, some radishes, super simple, but their bread, not so simple. The bread, French bread is like amazing. So I loved this book, and I didn't make these, but I want to. Cheese puffs with thyme.
That sounds amazing.
I'm gonna make that next time when I get home. And then the book, it doesn't have a lot of pictures. It's a lot of recipes and then astuce. So a tip. She gives you tips on how you might want to pair it with something else. She has a lot of wine pairings in this book, which is very nice. And I made three things out of here. There's a fish section, and there's a beef section, a poultry section. It being summer, it being hot. I made tuna stuffed peppers for sort of a summer lunch or a summer on your deck. What do you call it? Supper, light supper. And you know those bags at the grocery store? You get bags of peppers, and they're little lipstick peppers. What's nice about these is you simply take a pan with water and a steamer basket, and you steam your peppers. You don't have to prepare them at all. You just put them in there, steam them, let them cool, and then at the end you decapitate them, and with a spoon scoop out the insides. And while those have been steaming, you've been making your tuna salad, which is super simple, no mayonnaise. It's basically albacore tuna in oil, some capers, a garlic clove, and some fresh parsley for garnish. So very simple. I'll show you that in a minute, unless you want me to walk over there now. But I think in just a second I'll tell you that this other one I made was a salad niçoise. The salad niçoise has no picture, and I'm just showing you there's not a lot of pictures, but here it is. There is a picture. I lied. In France, salad niçoise. In America, you think green beans, potatoes, lettuce. This is how that would go over in France. Oh, mon Dieu. No, never. Don't do that. So they have tomatoes, cucumbers, no lettuce, no potatoes, no green beans. And I will show you that in a minute because we'll finish putting that together. And then the third thing I made, which was intriguing to me because they take something like parsley and make a dish out of it. And I can show you that here too. Are you ready to head over?
Sure can.
Okay. So here is I was talking about this, and here are the peppers that I got. Well, all of these things I got at the local grocery store or Walmart, wherever. There's nothing exotic in here that you can't find locally. So the peppers I steamed, and as I said, cut off the tops, stuff them with tuna salad. You could do this if you're not a tuna fan. You could do this with egg salad. You could do this with hummus. You could do this with really a lot of different fillings. You could do it with goat cheese. That would be rather fantastic. And then this parsley here, which I found so intriguing, is a parsley, green olive, and almond salad. So they take like 3 cups of parsley and a bunch of green olives roughly chopped and some almonds roughly chopped. And that would be sort of, they asked you in the book to pair these together. So the mildness of the tuna or egg salad or whatever you would have in here goes nicely with this sort of condiment. And it was really, really good. And then I am going to make the salad niçoise as they tell us to make it, which is what you would do is first slice and dice this is just cucumber, and I picked and a pound of 1 cucumber and 1 pound of cherry tomatoes. And I did that trick where you line your cherry tomatoes on a plastic lid, slap them down with another plastic lid, and then you take a knife and saw through there to do them all at once. And the traditional way to do this is to do your tomatoes, salt them with your tomatoes and cubes, let them drain a little bit, and then toss them in here. And now we will assemble. So we would do things like this. We would put a sliced pepper in here. And if you had, and they prepare and slice things in very rustic, large, not super fancy green onion that goes over the top. We have a bunch of basil from the garden that goes over the top. And I think we'll probably whiffle it up a little bit like this. We'll get that all mixed up, because then we're also going to put some olives in here. And ideally, these black olives, I didn't have the kind that they normally would put in, but whatever you have will work. And they do put 2 or 3 hard-boiled eggs around, jauntily assembled there. And all they use for a salad dressing, and then anchovies if you like anchovies, which I do have. I'm going to leave the anchovies out for now, but you would be dicing up some anchovies and putting those in there. And then to anoint it, you simply use a little bit of olive oil, like 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, to just simply go over the top, and then a grind of pepper, a grind of salt, and that would be it. That is the classic salad niçoise without the but those go in there. When I get those will go in there.
Does it call for you to dice the anchovies, or would you lie them in there?
Well, here's the thing. If you were assembling it, because this is the wonderful thing about anchovies, anchovies have that umami flavor that to just eat a piece of an anchovy is a very sharp, pungent, I love it, flavor, but a lot of people don't. So if you were just putting it in here, I would dice them up, but recognizably, maybe in thirds, so that if people who didn't like it could peel them out. The other thing about anchovies, if you wanted to be sneakier about it, nobody would know they were in there, is if you emulsified, if you took a hand blender with your olive oil and did your anchovies in your olive oil, nobody would even know it was there, and it would give it that robust, round, fuller flavor. That's what I think.
Interesting.
I think so.
Never actually, as far as I'm aware, not had anchovies, so I'm not really quite sure. Right? I don't want to say that I don't like them, but maybe I do.
Well, we could open one up and you could try it. Maybe not right now. Put you on the spot, Rebecca. So that's what I did today. I had the tuna stuffed peppers with the parsley, olive, almond salad, and the salad niçoise. Those were the 3 adventures I took to France and had quite a fine time with it. What did you do?
That sounds really adventurous. And I went a little bit simpler. I did the French Cooking for Beginners book. As far as I'm pretty much aware, I haven't done a lot of French cooking. So I wanted to start with something that might be a little easier, because I've always kind of envisioned it as being a much more fancier aspect of cooking. And it really, after kind of going through the book, realized that there are quite a few simpler dishes. The one I did actually was a very simple dish. It was just very time consuming. You're actually hearing it beep. Glenny's checking to see if the cheese is all toasted on it enough. All right. So this book, just like Glenny's, had very few pictures, if any. Maybe at like the beginning of chapters would it have some. But this is a very text-based book. The recipes, though, were pretty simple to follow. You have to hit the start button. Yeah, it did. It is, though. I mean, it has your like appetizers, your breakfast, desserts, your main dishes, those side dishes, those kind of things. It also talks a little bit about like, what a French pantry might have, the differences of salts and vinegars and those kind of things that you might be using in the dishes as well. I chose to do the French onion soup. It's my husband's favorite. I like French onion soup, so I thought, what a great way to give it a try. I was like, it's soup. How hard could it be? It really wasn't hard. I would definitely recommend, if you're going to go that route, you absolutely want to have a mandolin to cut your onions because you want them to be really paper thin. This one did have a picture. Did you have a mandolin? I do actually have a mandolin. I have a very nice one, so it was probably very happy to get used on there. I went ahead and all of my ingredients I was able to buy here locally in Chilton. So I didn't need to buy any, I didn't have to go travel out to Appleton or Green Bay to go to a specialty food store. The prep time on this says 10 minutes. I would say it probably took me more like 15-20 to prep the onions. It was 4 onions. I'm a crier when it comes to onions, so I didn't want to like slice my hand when I did it. So I took my time on that one a little bit.
Do you have a glove?
I don't have a glove, but I have a very big handle or holder for my mandolin. But you're right, I probably should have a glove. The longest part of this recipe is the cook time. It says 2.5 hours. It is not 2.5 hours. It clearly is longer. Even just reading the directions, it is longer. Math just doesn't work that way otherwise. So you really, on this dish, it was really simple. It is pretty much bacon, onions, beef stock, and wine in there. And then to top it off, there is some French bread that you toast up and some cheese. It is a very, very simple recipe if you're going with just the bare bones. I added it called for some thyme, it called for a bay leaf, and some garlic in there on this recipe. But if you didn't have it, you could certainly get away without having that in there. As I said, it took a really long time though, or at least it felt like it. You have to cook the onions themselves for about 2 hours on there. The first 30 minutes are at a medium, and then you're dropping that down to like a low heat for 1.5 hours to 2 hours so that you can get that caramelization flavor from the onions. And then once you add the stock and all of that, you have another 30 minutes on there at least to get it to temperature. Once you're done, and you'll see it, that's what we're at right now because I prepared this at home last night. You have to toast the baguettes. You have to then, right, you can plate your soup. I used ramekins today. And then you set the toasted baguettes inside, you top them with cheese, and now you're broiling them again so that you can get that nice toasted melted cheese aspect of it. We had this last night. We felt it was a really tasty dish. I might have cut back on the red wine just a little bit on it. I felt it was a little overpowering on the recipe, but not so much so that I wouldn't necessarily add it at all in there. But once again, this was a really interesting book. I felt like they were all dishes that I had the skill level that I probably could prepare them. Lots of them are ones that maybe we are familiar with. Shepherd's pie is in here. They had French fries in here, which I really kind of thought was humorous because I didn't think it was an actual French dish. I didn't read through, though, that one because I was like, I'm not looking at French fries. But like a simple roast chicken. those kind of things were on here, as well as I'm looking forward to doing a lot of the desserts. There's a lemon tart in here that I really kind of was looking forward to as well. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pan the camera over just a little bit so that you can see as we take it out to see kind of what it looks like right now. So you're seeing Glenny's. So just as we're going to pan this right over a little bit, you can see our makeshift cook the book kitchen that we used when we were doing in-person programming. So I'm just going to go ahead. This might not be completely toasted, but I think it's going to be
pretty good. It looks
pretty close to being done. I'm going to grab a hot pad that I wasn't using for that. And, ooh, that is.
It looks beautiful. Very
Turn it
nice.
off, I don't forget. And these are just small ramekins. But I would recommend maybe using like a bigger crock that like Glenny has ones like that.
But
that you could use.
If you were doing a big meal, if that was your main
Right.
meal, but if you were doing a multi-course meal.
Yes, or you rate a small appetizer or starting dish.
Yeah.
This would be maybe really a perfect size
I
on
think
there. So you can see I'm going to actually pick the camera up and just bring it in just a little closer for you. So I'm going to try not to like make it too shaky. Right, there we go. You can see that I have like that baguette in there. And then the cheese just gets really nice and toasted. I used a blend of Swiss and mozzarella, which was recommended in the book. But honestly, you could use whatever cheese you felt was your favorite cheese. If you don't like Swiss, I would definitely recommend maybe going and maybe you just want to use mozzarella. Right? It's your dish. You're going to be the one to eat it. You should make what you like and make whatever substitutions that you want. One of the things that I actually was really quite surprised is I did not realize that French onion soup has bacon in it, or at least this recipe. So it's supposed to add probably that salt. I personally like a slightly saltier soup, so I might have added more salt to the soup for my taste. But seeing that this made a batch, it took 10 cups of broth. So it made, at least 10 servings, I would say minimum on there. You're really going to want to maybe let your guests take salt and flavor however they would want that on that aspect. So it was a really interesting, I'm going to go back to you as well, Glenny. There we go. We're going to be eating a little bit of soup and some salad tonight for dinner. We are so glad that you were able to join us for tonight's Cook the Book, which was rescheduled. Next month for August, we are going to be doing Korean cuisine, and that is going to be on August 16th. We're going to post that on YouTube. It's a Monday. Glenny has a very special cookbook that she's getting to use that staff picked for her. So that one will be fun. I think teens will probably love this cookbook. And the one that I chose is actually designed as a graphic novel cookbook. So we'll have two very different cookbooks that we haven't kind of featured before in the past. So it's exciting to venture off. If you're interested in additional world cuisines, the library actually has an online database on our website resources page, which is A to Z World Foods. And you can search dishes from all over the world, different countries. They'll tell you kind of what cuisine that country is known for, as well as
a couple of recipes. I think.
Oh yeah, recipes, drink pairings, all that kind of stuff. It's stuff that you can print and share with other people. We also have a American food database as well, the same one, where you can look up at states. So that's where we kind of got the initial thought about how can we, make sure that people know that we have this resource. And then it was Bastille Day, and we're like, well, we like French food. So, so thanks for joining us. We hope that you can join us in August. We are still continuing our summer reading program through August 13th. So we hope to see you guys throughout the rest of the summer. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.